Hi, today I will be covering infant CPR. An infant is described as a baby that is 1 year of age and less. As far as children, the definition is 1 year of age till puberty. This video will just cover infant CPR. When we determine that a baby might be lifeless or unresponsive, and we see them lying either on the ground, if they were playing, in a crib or a playpen, and we determine that they are not talking, moving, cooing, and there is a potential for problem, then we want to make sure that we go through some basic steps. The first thing I would do is take that baby gently off of out of the playpen, out of the bed, and you want to bring them to a firm counter. For an adult to go to the floor, it's very challenging, but if you can find a firm table or a firm counter that is made of wood or counter material, do not put a baby on glass or something breakable like a plexiglass. A nice hard firm surface. I would gently hold the baby's head and neck and their lower half of their body and bring them to that surface. It's much easier for you to work. We will be putting our infant baby mannequins on the tables in the classroom to make it easy for you. Second step is to check for scene safety before you even move your baby to a particular room. We need to check for responsiveness, so instead of tapping the shoulders for infants, it's suggested that you take the baby and you flick the bottom of their foot a little bit on the hard side a couple of times. If they don't move, if they don't flinch or jerk, then the chances are they're unresponsive. If you believe that they're unresponsive, we go, help, help, somebody come help me. Or if we have our phone on us, we call 911 and get the ball rolling. The next thing that we would do is we'd be checking for breathing and for pulse. Breathing is very similar to adults in that we are looking for the rise and the fall of the chest by the lungs and or the upper abdomen. If you don't see anything, then chances are that infant might not be breathing. For the pulse check, we do not check in the neck. We are actually going to do what's called the brachial artery. So you take the arm, gently bring it back, and halfway between the elbow and the shoulder, we're going to take 2 or 3 fingers and we're going to put it right on the arm. That would be like right underneath the bicep between your elbow and your forearm. So as we're taking the pulse, we're watching for breathing. If there's no pulse and no breathing, then we call someone to go get the AED as well as to call 911. We want to make sure that happens. Now we're going to be starting our compressions. So there are some similarities. For for infants, you're going to be using the 30 compressions to 2 breaths. So that remains the same all across the board. The depth should be 1.5 inches for infants. Compression rate, 100 to 120 compressions per minute, which is the same as an adult. So 30 and 2, 100 to 120 compressions per minute, 1.5 inch compression depth. You want to make sure that you press down and you recoil. The chest comes back up. As far as your infant, and I'm going to need to flip the baby up so that you can see. As far as where our location is for our compressions, we will be using 2 fingers or possibly 3 if you have a smaller hand, pointer finger, middle finger together, and you'll be using the tops of your fingertips to press straight down into the sternum bone right in the middle of their chest. With the shirt removed, a bare chest, you want to find the nipple line and go slightly below, keeping the fingers and the wrist straight while you press down into that baby for your compressions. As far as the 2 rescue breaths, if you happen to have a guard, a face shield, you would put that on the baby. You're going to put it so that it covers the mouth and the nose, because your mouth is going to cover their mouth and nose at the same time. We will not be breathing in deeply. It's more of a It's like a puff because babies' lungs are very tiny. So it's not a full-fledged breath like you would do for an adult. So if we went through all of our steps and we realized this baby is not breathing, there's no pulse, then I would start 30 and 2. And so I'm going to show you how to position the baby. The baby, you would want the baby's head, neck, and body very close to you. And you would then want to make sure that your alignment was helpful to this process, because as we know, it's very tiring. You do not want your arm and hand in this position pressing down, because this is going to make the fingers and the wrist very tired because they're going to do all of the work. You want to uplift the hand so that you have a straighter alignment, and you want to press straight down with those 2 or 3 fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would do that 30 times, and then when I am done, I would gently tilt the head back. That is excessive, and that could hurt the baby. We just go through till neutral. And then we would just puff. Gentle puff. So when you open up your mouth, you're covering their nose and their mouth. Gentle puffs into the lungs to rise and fall. So here then is one important fact that I want you to know. Like an adult, we can do compressions, and there's enough oxygen within the blood cells to deliver to the vital organs in the brain. In the case of infants and children, it is imperative that you do the 30 compressions as well as get those 2 breaths in, because these little friends need the oxygenation to get all over through to the vital organs. So it is critical that you not only get the compressions, but you get the 2 rescue breaths. So here is a full scene. You realize that the baby is lifeless, and you know that the scene is safe, and you don't feel like that they're moving. You're like, oh my gosh, baby, are you okay? They're not responsive. Somebody call for help, or if I have my phone, I'm dialing 911. I next need to do an assessment of breathing and pulse. So I'm going to reach that hand, kind of turn it upright, watch the chest, and then feel for pulse. If I do not feel pulse, and I do not see the chest rising, I will either call 911 or go send somebody for an AED, as well as to contact the emergency medical system. I then now need to begin my CPR. I would find the nipple line, go just right below it in the middle of the chest, have good alignment, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Gentle head tilt. And then I would continue. And so you would keep doing those cycles until someone has arrived. Now, there is a technique that we like to show, and we will show you, but we will not be able to perform it this particular session, and that is the 2 rescuer infant. And when you have someone who is certified who can do this with you, this 2-person rescuer is actually preferred to the 1 rescuer that I just showed you. I do not have another person with me for this video, so I will just talk you through. We will be doing what is called a 2-person thumb encircling method. This is where the person who is going to do the CPR compressions, they will stand at the foot of the baby or the infant, and with our 2 thumbs, the 2 thumbs will come together towards that sternum bone right by the nipple line, and the rest of the hands will encircle under and around the baby. So what will happen is I will kind of scoop under, make sure that my thumbs are together on that sternum bone, and I'm going to do 15 compressions. I am rescuer 1, which is the chest compression, and rescuer 2 would stand ahead of me on the side, and they would perform 2 rescue breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So I would do 15 compressions, and then right over here, rescuer 2 would be giving 2 breaths. So there's no pausing. This is the most effective because we're getting great compressions with 2 strong thumbs versus a couple fingers with one person, and you've got constant breath going in. If you have the ability to do a 2-person rescuer, that is the way to go for an infant. So again, I would do the 2-person encircle, which the 2 thumbs come to that sternum bone and pressing 1.5 inches, and I press down 15 times, and then rescuer 2 would do the 2 breaths. That is how we do 1-person and 2-person rescuer for infants.